You're listening to Zero Distortion with Russ Bates, where real conversations cut through the noise from business and politics to mindset and relationships. No filters, no fluff. Just truth and perspective that matters. Mic on. Let's go.
Hey, everybody. My guest today is Angela Muresan. She's a marketer, a storyteller, a sustainability advocate, and she brings a lot of energy and attention to really everything she does. From freelance work to hosting shows and leading campaigns, she's built an incredible career. And by the way, she speaks like 3, 4, 5 different languages. So let's get into it. Angela, welcome to Zero Distortion. How are you doing today?
No, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well, enjoying the lovely weather in the UK. It's dark and grey as usual.
What part of the UK are you in?
I'm in Manchester.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah,
you're kind of all over the place, right? You do a little bit of traveling, I think.
I do. I do a lot of traveling. I lived in London for many years. Then a couple of years ago, I just went traveling all over the world, and now I'm back in Manchester.
Okay. Is Manchester home for you then?
For now, yes. Yeah.
For now. Awesome. Well, hey, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, and I think a lot of them probably know who you are. You're pretty popular, but maybe for those that aren't as familiar, can you share a little bit about yourself?
No, of course. It's really weird because sometimes I meet people and they know who I am, and it just feels strange. I'm still not used to that. But I don't consider myself like an influencer or anything like that. I work in marketing and I do content creation / presenting / I like to share my opinion about sustainability, EVs, EV charging, and just share the knowledge I have with the world, but also work with businesses to support them build a brand and share their message as well.
Awesome. That's fantastic. I love your content. You're very creative. The one that really caught my attention just recently was where you had the guy stuffed in the trunk. I thought, okay, that's a different approach. That was pretty cool. So where do you come up with a lot of these ideas?
It's working with great people. I think working with clients that are flexible and they're open to trying different things, and they dare to add a touch of humanity to the content. I think that's where I can just go off and do crazy stuff like kidnapping people or all sorts of things like that. But there's more coming. I have more. That's nothing. That's just a start.
Oh, I love to hear that. I'm eagerly anticipating what you're going to have out there because it's so cool. So, what really got you started? I know you say you don't consider yourself an influencer, but I certainly think you are. I mean, you influence me. I love again the content you put out and the way you really educate those who may not understand a lot of these things. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So it speaks to me because I think education is key. And once people kind of start to recognize and realize the facts as opposed to the myths of some things, that matters. But is marketing and that type of career path, is that something you were always looking to get into, or did you kind of happen into it, or how'd that happen?
Not a chance. If you would have told me that I'm going to do marketing or I'm going to be on camera presenting in front of people 2 years ago, I probably would have laughed and said, no, never, because I was such an introvert. I wasn't really confident. And yeah, that wasn't a thing that I had planned. But it just happened. So I've always been quite creative. Back in the day, I used to love designing, decorating houses, and just that's where I felt the happiest. So I think that's
Yeah.
that creativity side started to build. And which is really interesting. So when I moved to UK about 10 years ago, I couldn't even speak English. And it was nothing, genuinely nothing. All I could say is, can I have a water? Please, thank you. And that's it. And my first job was actually picking and packing in a warehouse. And I always known that I wanted to do more. I've always known that that's not what I want to do for life. And if nobody's going to hand me an opportunity, I'm going to go and create it. And that's how I started doing marketing, because I had to put myself out there and I had to build confidence. And the only way I could do that is by getting over that fear of being in front of the camera and talking to people and realizing that they're just human beings, just like me. Everybody's normal. Everybody has insecurities. Everybody is just normal people.
I can totally relate. Whenever I started my company, if I had known that I was going to have to get up and speak in front of people or do podcast or do anything like this at all, no way. Terrible stage fright for me. That's something, I guess it's probably a problem with a lot of people. They'd rather die than get on stage and have to talk. So that was me, and I can totally relate to what you're saying there. So was there something that you did to overcome that?
Just, I think, posting videos on social media. So I used to, after leaving the picking and packing job, I started working in recruitment and sales. That was my first ever kind of office job. And I'll never forget the interview. My friend wrote me a speech, and I have a visual memory. My English was still bad at the time. And I memorized that speech word by word, and I got the job. And I started doing recruitment and sales. And obviously in sales, it was very Wolf of Wall Street kind of environment, and being a 20-year-old in a different country that can barely speak English with a really strong accent, I've always had to kind of work harder and prove myself, and I'll get questioned a lot on things. So doing social media marketing, it was something that helped me build that credibility in the sector that I worked in. And by doing that, not only helped me build my confidence that I know what I'm talking about, but also help other people to look at me differently as somebody that knows what they're talking about. And it just went from there, and I started building the passion around it. And for a few years, people used to call it, oh, are you doing your little silly videos and things like that? And it's fine, and it's okay. You're going to get people that are going to support you, but then you're also going to get people that are going to look at all the mistakes and tell you, oh, maybe you should do this, or maybe you should say that.
Right.
Just don't listen, just move on.
Yeah, you really have to opinions matter to a certain degree, but you really have to go out there and not worry about, what people say or think, because you're right. There's always going to be haters and trolls and what have you. I've got a pretty good audience of those. But really those people don't matter too much. I don't get a ton of that. I'm interested to see how much, trolling happens to you. But really for me, I like hearing the good stuff. One good comment that really lights me up. I could get 50 negative ones, and I've learned to brush those off. Some of them used to really hurt, right? It's like, wow, why so mean? But I think a lot of those haters they've got some other things they're dealing with. But what's your experience with that?
It's a mixture. I think I get at the start of it was the people that were close to me, my friends, and people that I've known that used to troll me because they knew the other side of me, the other version of Angela, versus the people in the industry. They just knew professional Angela, the EV that Angela, the Angela that talks about sustainability, and they were really supportive. And I used to get loads of comments from people to say, oh, your videos are just getting better, and you're so more, like, you can see that you're more confident on camera, your accent is like clearer, you're pronouncing words better, and it just like slowly built that confidence. And yeah, it was usually like friends or sometimes people like I've never met before on TikTok or like on Instagram that used to troll me to say, you don't know what you're talking about, or things like that. Right now, it doesn't bother me. I still get it every day. I just don't. Marketing and it's marketing. Let them, for me, that's an extra view, that's an extra comment, and that's how I like to look at it.
Yeah, the haters, they really make the algorithm go, right? They make the algo go. So
They help though, yeah.
Yeah, I know they don't mean to, but I thank them for doing that, because that's more attention to the post or video or what have you. So now, tell me more about, you speak three languages, correct?
Yes.
What are those? Obviously English.
Yeah, well, I think there's a few more that I speak, but I speak three fluently. So English, Spanish, my main language, and also I'm half Romanian, so I speak Romanian as well fluently. But then
Oh,
yeah, I also speak Italian, I speak a bit of German, and a few words of different other languages, but I'm not fluent. Not anymore.
well, that's pretty good. I mean, I struggle with a little, very little bit of Spanish, enough for whenever I'm traveling. And my grandmother was German, and I learned just a little bit of German, and I forgot most of that. So I get it. I get it.
Helps because I think when you speak to people, especially the work that you do, and you speak to people internationally, even if you don't speak that language fluently, just saying hello or in their own language, it just makes them feel so connected to you and so welcome.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's, having that connection is big. And if you're making an effort to speak their language and learn customs and things like that, that means a lot. So I would think. But
Yes.
well, let's talk a little bit about the work itself that you do, and with marketing and that creative work, because it seems like you really enjoy it. That's the impression I get, and that speaks volumes. But what about it really just lights you up?
I think it's when it allows me to take my personality and my ability to connect with people and create content that actually makes a change and moves people. And then I get a message from somebody to say, I've just switched to electric car. I just bought this car. Thank you for sharing the comparison that helped me with the, choosing the car or where I'm charging, or just to understand sustainability and more in general. That's what lights me up. And even if it's just one person, I think that's enough for me. That's what I enjoy the most.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. It's speaking to one person at a time, right? You're putting it out to the masses, but even if one person off one post says, "All right, I'm going to go with this," because I think, was it last week you put something out about different types of EVs and what was going to be the best value, and that's important. I think that's very valuable to know. So that's, I think, quite beneficial to that audience.
Yeah, and you've mentioned right at the start the educational side of it, and this is I think what we're missing, because for so many years we did incredible things and we've created amazing events and gatherings, and we all meet up and we talk about good stuff, but we sometimes forget the people outside that don't work in the industry.
Right.
How do we take the message to the rest of the world, because they are the ones that are going to drive sales and the world, and people will adapt more. And I think that's why I want to share the message, is getting the people that don't work in the industry to understand how things work. And a good example, I was speaking to my friend who's a single mom of two. She's a beautician, so she travels to clients' homes and things like that. So she drives a lot, and she drives a petrol car right now. And she said to me, if I have £20 in my pocket, I know I can go to a petrol garage, fuel up for £20, and I know how long that's going to last me. With electric cars, I don't understand kilowatt hours. I don't understand, like, I turn up, I plug in. I don't know when do I reach the £20? When do I stop? And that was when it clicked for me. It's like that educational piece, because fueling up is very different to charging your car. Charging your car is more similar to charging your phone.
Right. And it's, people have been filling up their cars for 120 years or whatever, right? A long time. So
Yes.
it's just a common knowledge type of thing, where this is different. This is a new technology that, I mean, it's been around a long time, but it's finally becoming a bit more mainstream. People, they don't understand, and range anxiety is a big deal, and charging station infrastructure here in the US, That's a problem. It's getting better, but it's still a huge problem. It's a lot of opportunity, I'll say that. So
Mm,
yeah, that's I think it's a lot of the same common questions and concerns anywhere in the world whenever it comes to going from an internal combustion engine to that electric vehicle.
exactly that. And how do you take that information and you make it digestible, especially when we live in a world that, so everybody's doing social media, everybody's on TikTok and Instagram and creating and sharing videos. How many videos do we watch a day? So is how do you create something that will make people want to spend 5 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds watching a video, because they're not going to get that time back. So it has to be worthy, it has to be something insightful and educational, but also fun and easy to remember. And yeah, that's the fun part of it.
Well, and I think that's where you differentiate yourself from so many others. I haven't been doing any videos of trying to promote anything. It's when seeing your videos that really again speaks to me. It's like, yeah, a picture's worth 1,000 words, they say. So what's a video worth? A lot, and just being able to see that. So I think that I love what you're doing there. Is there anything that like keeps you inspired, or anything that's really challenging whenever you're putting something together? I guess it's kind of a two-part question.
Yeah, I think that being inspired, especially when passion becomes profession, like it slightly changes. When it's a passion, it's easy. You just do things when you have the idea, when you're feeling passionate and creative, and it's nice and easy because you're not expecting a return on it. As soon as it becomes
Right.
a, it's slightly harder because it has to be consistent. You always have to put things out there, and you can take away that passion sometimes. And I always think being creative and keeping that flame alive is like a relationship. You have to work at it. You have to,
Yes.
and it's like I have to date the creative side of me. Like I have to take myself out. Sometimes I run out of ideas and I'm just scrolling on TikTok and Instagram for like inspiration myself. And
Sure.
like, okay, I need to take a step back. What makes me happy? Where am I the happiest and the most creative? And that's when I do things I love. And it's taking myself out for a coffee or an ice cream, or just going out for a walk and just taking a step back. It helps, but it's like constant work. I have to work at this harder now than I've ever done before. And it's also to the second part of the question, it's the variety of projects, because it's not just, I have a thing about understanding how things work. I find it quite fascinating. And more recently, I've learned about harmonic filters and how the energy is being produced and all that sort of things, which at the start I was like, what is that? I have no idea. All I knew about harmonic filters, I actually never knew about it before that, but it was like, at a charging station, you have always a box in a corner somewhere, kind of ugly, just there. Just never knew what it does. And now that I know, I find it super interesting. And that keeps the flame alive. It's just like understanding how things work and being able to have conversations with people in the industry and show that I do understand. I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Really, yeah, it makes me happy.
I totally get that, and you make another important point that I agree with. When the work aligns with who you are, it becomes sustainable. I probably a pretty good word to use here, and not just successful. So whenever you're passionate about what you're doing, work doesn't feel like work, right? It feels like more of a purpose, I guess. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, 100%. Absolutely agree on that.
That's big. So with work and intersecting with your personal life, how do you balance all that? We hear a lot here in the U.S. about work-life balance, and for me, I mean, I work every day, but it's something I enjoy. I still have time for family and some recreation and stuff, but really I enjoy the work. How does that play in for you?
Yeah, exactly the same. I think work is fun, and I enjoy my work. I enjoy learning about things. I enjoy filming things and editing. I know some people don't like the editing part. I quite like it because I can be creative with it, and I
Yeah.
can add things and make myself look good and feel good, which adds that building my confidence, let's
Sure.
say. Yeah, and I really it's fun. Work is fun, and when I travel, yes, it can be a bit tiring and it can be a bit much, um, but I also get to see new places. I get to travel for free sometimes.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm at that time in my life. I don't have a family. I don't have kids, so I can be a bit more flexible and try things and travel and go away. And I just try and it's mixed. Yeah, personal, professional life is kind of all entangled together right now, and I'm just enjoying all of it.
Yeah, it for me, you sound very much like me that you're enjoying what you're doing. And to me, I hear people say, "Oh, it's finally Friday," and I say, "Well, hey, it's the fifth Friday of the week for me because I feel like every day's Friday or even Saturday. They all kind of run together, which is cool for me now. Now, years ago, that wouldn't have been where I was at, but that's where I'm at now. So you're way ahead of me.
No, it's so interesting. I completely understand that feeling because I have friends who work 9 to 5, and sometimes I feel like I just want a 9 to 5. Would be so much easier, but I know I couldn't do it. That's just not my personality. I like the freedom to pick and choose the projects I work on, and that makes such a difference because I don't care. I work when I have to work. I don't care if it's a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday, at 9 o'clock at
Right.
night. I'll do it. It's fine because I know I can just manage my own time. I can have the morning off the next day if I want to. So it's just having that flexibility is different, but it doesn't work for everybody. Um, some
Right.
people, some people do better when they can manage their own time, and so other people perform better when they have a more structured week and they know I do a 9 to 5. After 5 o'clock, I go home and I do whatever I want. And some people, that's also great. I like both sides. I've tried both sides. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I guess we'll see. For now, having the flexibility, and I probably end up working more than a 9 to 5. But it doesn't feel that way. It feels good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like, hey, this is what I do and I enjoy doing it. So it's not like I tell people relationships are work,
Yes.
right? But it shouldn't be like digging a ditch, right? It shouldn't be like hard manual labor going out there and doing something, which is the same way I feel about whatever a person's purpose is, whether it's, work like what you're doing or what I'm doing, or maybe their passion is volunteering or their passion is the gym. That was me years ago. I couldn't wait to go to the gym. It was all right. I'm done at work. I'm clocking out now. I'm going to hit the gym, and I lived for that. But
Yeah.
it evolved. So yeah, I think you make a great point.
I think with that, instead of looking at it, all you do is work, is looking at every project, every time you go to a gym, every workout, every time you're on stage, you're building yourself, your skill set, your confidence, you're developing yourself rather than just working.
Yeah, it's an investment in yourself, which I think is so important, to keep growing and learning and having that open mind of whatever the topic may be. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Um, what do you see in the future? What's on the horizon for you, Angela? What are you really excited about? And that can be personally or professionally.
So I want to do so many things. If I don't have enough time in the day to do all the things I want to do, and this is it when you're working on things that you're passionate about. But right now, I'm just really focusing on growing my personal brand, creating content that actually makes a difference. But I also like to enjoy my life outside of that. So I do loads of different classes. I started learning to play the piano, which I really enjoy. And
Wow.
I'm also dancing classes, so that's super fun. And especially just moved to Manchester, I don't know anybody here, so it's a nice way to meet people and make friends and socialize, which we need. But yeah, it's just I just feel really passionate about all of this, and it makes me so happy. And I think also the opportunity to work on some crazy stuff. And I was in bed last night and I was scrolling on social media, and a few times this happened, but a video of me popped up. It wasn't one that I shared, it was other videos of like companies I shared that I worked with. And
Okay.
it's a weird feeling to just see yourself again and again, but it's nice. It takes time to get used to.
Yeah. No, it's I did that one time. I Googled myself, and I was like, wow. It was after I'd done a few podcasts and it kind of started to get out a little bit. And it was, I don't know, it's a little surreal. It was like, oh, because you're used to seeing celebrities and I mean, YouTube influencers and things like that have become big over however many years now. So it's something that like, well, I don't know, that's kind of cool, right? Okay, I'm names out there a little bit, but I mean, you have a huge audience. I think you've got a ton of people that are really excited about what you're doing. The content you're putting out it's different and it really speaks to people. So I really, really like what you're doing, Angela. And I want to thank you so much for coming and being on the podcast. Anything you'd like to share with our listeners before we go? How can they
Yeah.
find you for one? I want them to be able to reach out if you would like them to.
Oh, 100%. So LinkedIn, Angela Muresan, and I'm on Instagram, new account because my last one was blocked. So I'm just building that again, which is number one, Angela Muresan. If anybody wants to, I tend to share more videos and like EV comparisons and just all things around sustainability on there. So yeah, those are the two platforms I use the most. And I think what I'd like to add, this was an advice I got from somebody a few years ago that really stayed with me and really helped me overcome all the fears. And somebody said to me, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to start and be brave enough to be bad at it before you're good at it, and not to be afraid to just walk away when if things don't align with you anymore. That just stayed with me for years, and it really helped me get through tough times.
I think that's excellent advice because if there's always going to be something you don't know about either a new business or a job you're wanting to get or uh, fitness or whatever, you just have to start, right? And everybody's going to figure it out. Everyone that started something messed up. And if you don't screw up sometimes, I mean, you're probably not really doing enough, right? So I do quite a bit, I guess, because I screw up a lot. But
Right, all the time. I was hosting. Oh my God, I probably shouldn't say this. They're probably going to see it. Do I? Do I say it? Okay.
Yeah,
So
we can edit it out if we shouldn't have it in.
that's fine. I mean, it happened, right? It happens to the best of us. I was hosting the London EV show, and it was this was a few months ago. Bear in mind, and even when you have experience, you can still mess up. I was introducing a guest on stage, and you have this big screen behind you with a big picture and what they're doing. And I just messed up, and I was introducing somebody else while on the screen it was someone else, and it didn't end up great. And then I was coming down off stage, and I tripped and I fell, and all sorts of
Oh
things
no.
to the best of us. But you know what? People will remember me because of that. So, you know,
But it's real, right? I
yeah,
mean, it's not a movie or a TV show where, all right, let's do another take. it's real life. And I think people can very much relate to that. I'll share an embarrassing story. I was on a panel to talk about EV charging. This was about 3 years ago. It was at Kent State University in Ohio. And I was nervous. I was not used to being in front of people and talking or anything. And we went to the room that we were going to be presenting in, and it was in April, and it had just turned off hot, and nobody had gone in there and turned down the air or anything. So it was a very warm in there, and then all the people coming in made it even warmer. I don't know, there was, I don't know, maybe 100 people in there. But I got up there and I just started sweating. It was pouring off of me. And I was so embarrassed, and I think I'm having an anxiety attack because I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody, I look like an idiot up here. But I cooled off. I calmed down. I toweled myself off a little bit, and then it went really well. But I was super, super embarrassed and self-conscious. But you get over it. I mean, the more you do stuff, the better you get, right?
One on that, just we should do a podcast about all these embarrassing stories, because I've got so many of them, and they happened to me. A similar situation happened to me. I will never forget this one. This was maybe 8 years ago, and I went to meet with Hitachi, very big company, very first ever kind of face-to-face big meeting. And I was running, I was in London, my train got delayed. It was such a mess, and I was running through London, and I got to the building, and I thought, I'm just going to walk in. Got into the elevator, and I said, I'll probably have like 2 minutes to go to the bathroom and freshen up. No, the doors open, and there was everybody looking at me, waiting for me, and I was all flustered, all sweaty. My hair was a mess. I was 21-year-old pro, or something like that. And there was, 6 men looking at me, waiting for me to present and show them that I know what I'm talking about. Wow. It did actually go really well. It was really hard, and I'll never forget that day. It was really interesting. I never got them as a client, and that's fine. It is what it is. But I did stay friends with one of the guys that introduced me, and even now, even to this day, we still talk, and is a very good coach.
Well, that's great. And you haven't got them as a client yet.
No.
That they could still come and sign with you. So
if they want to, they can. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I agree. I mean, these things happen, right? And if they don't happen to you, then you're perfect, or you're not doing anything. And I haven't met the perfect person yet.
I don't think it exists. I feel like if somebody says that life is perfect, the career is perfect, they've never had any issues, there's something wrong there. If you're passionate, you have to put yourself out of that comfort zone. If you don't, you're never going to grow. And you have to try things. Nobody starts something experience. You always start from zero. Even the people that we look up to now, because they have so much experience, they were us one day. So you can up there too.
That's right. Everybody starts, and they work, and they get better and better. Exactly. Angela, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate your time, and I think our listeners are very much going to value what you've shared. So again, I want to say thank you, and we really appreciate your time.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun, and I really enjoyed this conversation. And if anybody needs any support, anytime, any advice, I'm always happy to support however I can.
Fantastic. And let them know one more time where to catch you, because we talked for a little bit. I want them to get it at the end too.
Oh, of course, LinkedIn, Angela Muresan, or Instagram, number one, Angela Muresan.
Angela Muresan, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to Zero Distortion. If you liked this episode, follow the pod, leave a rating, or share it with someone who needs to hear it. You'll find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. Stay curious, stay open, and until next time, keep cutting through the noise.